Hello my viewers, welcome back to the channel. And by the video title, you know what this video is about. Steelers versus Browns, Monday Night Football game preview. You know the Pittsburgh Steelers last week didn't go so well for us, or for the team, and for SteelerNation. But luckily it's just week one. And we got an opportunity to rewrite our wrongs, an opportunity to make it happen in primetime football on Monday night. So, as you guys know, if you're new to the channel, I do game previews for the Steelers and the Browns. Not for the Browns, but for the Steelers, I do it for every game because I'm a Steeler fan, as you guys know. Of course, I try to cover the NFL entirety, doing the weekly reviews and updates and game picks as well to discuss some big topics in the NFL. But my favorite team is the Steelers, so I do a little preview for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I do positives and negatives for both teams. And I do keys to victories. And I also do my score prediction at the end. So you guys leave your score predictions in the comment section down below and leave what you think need to be done. If you're a Browns fan, leave what you think the Browns need to do to beat the Steelers. If you're a Steeler fan, leave what you think the Steelers need to do to beat the Browns. Let me know in the comment section down below. But let's dive into some of the positives first. So on the Browns side, some of the positives, the rushing attack. The rushing attack is amazing for the Cleveland Browns. They can go out there and just run the ball on anybody. They have a top 5, maybe top 3 offensive line in the league. They can go out there and match up with anybody. And when you have a guy like Nick Chubb, he's a very dynamic running back. He's probably one of the best running backs in the league, if not the best. Nick Chubb, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, I think that's my ranking. Nick Chubb, McCaffrey, and Henry. Those three are three of the best running backs I've seen in the game today. And Nick Chubb has been very consistent, has been getting it done year in and year out every time. He's the best player on their offense. They're hoping that Deshaun Watson emerges the best player on the offense eventually later down the line. But as of right now, Nick Chubb is the best player on that offense. He goes out there and he just makes things happen. When he get the ball in his hands, the screen pass, whether it's a handoff, whether it's anywhere on the field, you want to put him at like that. We've seen him line up before as a wideout before. We've seen him catch some big-time catches, in his career as well, down the field too. So he's very versatile, a very good running back, and having a guy like that in your backfield with the O-line at that caliber is just going to make it easy for you. Another thing I like, too, is that the defense is very explosive. They got an explosive defense. They got a guy, Myles Garrett, who can get after you. They got good DBs, good corners out there as well. They're very explosive. They can get splash plays all over the place and all over the field. So having those type of guys are always very cool to have on the team. And, especially with the rushing attack as well, it helps your defense out a lot. You can run the ball, and it can kind of get your defense refreshed. So when they're coming out there, they're their fresh version of themselves. And they go out there, they can have more opportunity to make bigger plays because they're not exhausted or tired because they're getting off the field fast. The Browns ran the ball well last week. They run the ball well the past 3 seasons like that. Of course, the passing attack, which is one of the negatives I got for the Browns. The passing attack hasn't been the best because Deshaun Watson's still a little rusty. We've seen him week 1 last week. He was kind of a little rusty still. He was still trying to find his own, still trying to get in the groove. But Deshaun Watson is looking a little better. He's looking a little better. Last week he threw a touchdown pass. He didn't really have the best numbers, but you're seeing some more improvements. You see him make some throws a little bit here and there. I think as the season go on, we're going to see more and more Deshaun Watson. Last year he played 7 games, but he played 8 games. I think he was 4-4. He played 8 games last year, but he wasn't himself because, when you miss 2 years of football, it's kind of hard to come back and just do it. The only person I've seen do that was Andrew Luck. When he missed almost 2 years of football, and he came back and got his team to the playoffs. Andrew Luck is a different type of breed, though, as well. But it's still very difficult to do that, to get in the groove, to get back to your old self. So hopefully Deshaun Watson emerged back to that because the Browns traded a lot for him. They traded a lot for him. They traded to get him, and they paid him a lot of money. He's the highest paid quarterback in the league, I think. He had the highest contract. I think Joe Burrow contract might be the higher now in the long run. I think in the short run right here, but I think actually Deshaun Watson might have the highest paid quarterback in the league, I think, still. You guys let me know in the comment section down below. But Deshaun Watson got paid a lot of money, so they need him to come out there and show out and play to that standard as well. Another thing, too, is for the positives for the Steelers, T.J. Watt. Big, strong T.J. Watt. T.J. Watt is the driving force of this team. When the Steelers do not have T.J. Watt in the starting lineup, they're 1-10-1. 1-10-1 without T.J. Watt in the starting lineup. T.J. Watt is an absolute beast, future Hall of Famer, and he's 1 sack away from breaking the all-time sack record in Steelers history. Now, the all-time sack record probably could have been much higher in Steelers history. I think it's 80. But, in Mean Joe Green and the Jack Hams, they didn't really, I think they started calculating sacks like later down the line, like close to the end of their career, like live at the end. So they really didn't like focus on all the sacks because they could have had like, Mijo Green could have had a lot of sacks recorded on there. So they really didn't record a lot of sacks early on, but then they started doing it later down the line. So if they would have recorded his sacks, he might have been the sack leader. In my opinion, Minjo Green's still the best Steeler ever. My favorite Steeler ever is Palomalu, but I think Minjo Green is the best Steeler ever. He's the ultimate embodiment. And of course, I wasn't alive. I'm only 22 years old. I wasn't alive when he played, but I do have the Steelers history movie DVD over there on my shelf. I have some old PlayStation 2 games over there too. But I have the Steelers history DVD on my shelf over there. And I watched that nonstop as a child. The child nonstop. It show you the history and like the documentary and a lot of different series of like all 4 Super Bowls. And that man is an absolute beast. And TJ Watt is getting himself up there. He's getting himself up there being that dynamic force. And, I think it's time for him to add some hardware to it as well like that. And hopefully the Steelers can give him that hardware. TJ Watt is an absolute beast. He's amazing. He has 15 sacks, 15 career sacks against the Cleveland Browns. 1 forced fumble, 1 interception. The one he caught his first game as a Steeler. He had 2 sacks in the pick. I think that was when Deshaun Kaiser was a quarterback. But TJ Watt is an absolute beast, and he had some of his best games against the Browns. So I'm pretty sure that he's going to be in this game looking to add on to that. But the pass rush, the Steelers' pass rush is always going to be good. Get pressure to the quarterback. Of course, the receiving core, they got a lot of different guys. George Pickens, you got Calvin Austin, Allen Robinson, Denzel Johnson's down with an injury, going to miss this game. And then you also have the nice tight ends as well. Pat Freiermuth down in Washington. They can create a lot of mismatches in the secondary. But they got to do it, though. They got to write it up and scheme it up. And that would lead to my next point, which is the negatives. The Steelers been in the same kind of loop for the past 3 years about the offensive play calling. Now, you can't put all the blame on Matt Canada last game. Now, Matt Canada the past 2 seasons have been the best. We can't put all the blame on him this last game because it was some missed throws. It was some missed throws and missed opportunities because he called some plays up. That was clean plays. Kenny had clean pocket, and he missed a lot of good throws. But you can put blame on him for not being able to adjust and not being able to tell his get his quarterback in the right situation as well. We know Kenny Pickett works best when he can roll out and run the ball. Kenny did not even throw 47 times. I know that some of that stuff came in garbage time later down the line, but he cannot throw 47 times. He's not going to win like that. You got to be able to go out there and be able to, mix it up a little bit. Use the run game. Use the run game to set up the pass game and the play action pass, PA rollouts, the bootlegs, and all type of stuff. Because that's when Kenny plays his best, when he's on the move. And when some of those plays on the moves, those crosser routes, he looked very good in delivering those last season. That's why he won those games. Where he went 6-1 at the end of after the bye week like that. Went out there and finished the season off well. I think he played well too, and he played precise because he threw the ball less. I ain't saying that he can't throw the ball more, but it's just like you don't want him to throw the ball 45 to 47 times. That's not the formula to success like that. Unless your name is Patrick Mahomes or something, you're not going to win like that, throwing the ball 47 times. But Kenny Pickett got a limit to him to being around a 25 to maybe 25 pass attempts to 30 pass attempts like that, keeping it around that range like that. And, we need to run the ball a lot. We need to see Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren combine for at least 40 to 45 carries a game like that, and McFarland as well. You need them to be able to go out there and run the football. And the Steelers kind of got discouraged from running the ball. When the first play happened, when Fred Warner came out there on that first drive and hit Najee and stuff, we tried to set the tone for us. We should have came back and set the tone for them and should have kept running the football. And we see Najee at the big run and then a couple other runs here and there, but they really didn't run the ball that much. It's only 9 carries. You can't really get going with 9 carries. We need to find a way to mix and match and just run the football. Don't get discouraged from running the football. You seen last year what we do, where our success came from. We ran the football. And our line was worse last year as well. After the bye week, what we do, we ran the football very well. We went from being one of the last in the league to being like top 10 in the league in that after that bye week stretch and running the football and getting out there. I think the first game we had like 200-something rushing yards, and we had 130, 140 rushing yards. We started rushing the ball, and we started seeing success because that's the success of the Steelers. The Steelers have always won when they ran the ball and they got to the quarterback. That's the formula for the winning all the Super Bowls. You look at all the Super Bowl teams, what did they do? They got to the quarterback, and they ran the football, and that's how they won all their Super Bowls. So why would we leave that formula now? Let's start getting back to our old school days, and let's start playing that hard-nosed football and setting the tone and be that steel curtain football that we used to be. But the Steelers have been doing the same thing for the past 3 years, and with the same play calling and being too predictable. Because I'm calling, sometimes you can call the stuff from the couch. They call it the arm couch quarterback. You can see when they're doing the sweeps. You see the receiver run in, and then tap, run out, and then they snap it. They've been doing that play for the past 3 years, doing the same thing, rinse, wash, and repeat. It's kind of like if you guys know, I'm a fan of a lot of things. Sports. Wrestling can be a sports. It's like a fine line between sports and entertainment because it's scripted and stuff, but it's still very entertaining to watch. Comic books, mangas, horror stuff as well. And one of my favorite animes, Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z is amazing anime, one of the best ever. But when they ended the series with the Majin Buu, being a beam that they didn't know that existed in the universe, came out of nowhere. And they came with Dragon Ball Super, the sequel. They did the same thing with Beerus. The beam came out of nowhere. They just changed the person out. And then the next time they came back, they said, "Oh, this guy Broly, he was in the universe the whole time. We just didn't see him." And then they did it with the Moro dude. So like they've been kind of rinsing and repeating the same thing over and over. Like how people do those same movies over and over. They keep remaking the same movie or doing these remakes. Like, can we get something fresh? Can we get something new? Why we keep doing all these sequels and all these remakes? Can we do something freshly new, like a new idea completely? And that's what Steelers need to do for this offense. This offense doing the same thing: receiver sweeps, the little short out routes, the little short screens that go nowhere, the receiver sweep, the short out route, the screens that go nowhere. Like you run the same play over and over, like Madden, when you just pressing A over and over and over, like, oh, I'm gonna call the same play over and over and like kind of spam a little bit. That's what Steelers doing on offense. So hopefully they can fix that. Another thing too that's a negative is the cornerbacks. The cornerbacks are not that good at man-to-man coverage. Now JPJ, I believe, in my opinion, like I've said before, JPJ, Joey Porter Jr., the rookie who he drafted basically in the first round because it's the 32nd pick. I believe he's the best cornerback in the whole group. But they didn't really play him that much. They didn't really start. They didn't start him. They didn't start him at all. I don't know why. Steelers way trying to ease people into things and like just go out there and just start the guy, trying to ease him into things. Just like when Kenny Pickett was here last year, you should just start him week 1. Trying to ease people into things and just say, oh, we're gonna wait and let it linger around. You can suffer some losses. Some of those losses come back to bite you at the end. So how about we start the best guy available, who's JPJ, who is like 6'1", who has the length, who has the arm on the strength as well, like that, who has the arm coordination, the arm length to go up there and contest those passes, and who plays and specializes in man-to-man defense as well. You're going to run man-to-man defense with Levi Wallace, who's not the best at that. Patrick Peterson is a little older, so he can't really do it as much. And they had a perfect passer rating throwing to Patrick Peterson. He gave 58 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he played pretty solid in the slot. He had some pass breakups on the tight end and receiver as well. But it's just like, you gotta put the best guys out there available. So JPJ, hopefully he's gonna be starting. I gotta look that up and see what they're saying about him. He gotta be the starter. He gotta be. But that's really what I got for the positives and negatives for both teams. And then keys to victory. Now, if I was a coordinator or like a scout or a coach or something, had to go over there and I work for the Browns, which would never happen. I would never work for the Browns. But if I work for the Browns and it was like, hey, how do you beat the Steelers? And like, let us know how you what's your game plan you got against the Steelers? Attack the corners. They suffer in man-to-man defense. And crosser routes be well wide open like that. They don't know how to come up and attack. We've seen Count O'Neal. We've seen KZ struggling coming up to help that extra support in the zone defense. Also, the outside run, the outside zone runs, the Steelers do a poor job most of the time, which a lot of big runs happen. You've seen last year and you've seen the first game against the Niners. They couldn't get to the edge and couldn't stop it. We've seen McCaffrey get a 68-yard run, and we've seen McCaffrey get a 23-yard run. And the Steelers struggle sometimes with quarterbacks who can move. Quarterbacks who can move and scramble a little bit. Now, they do have success against Lamar Jackson. Real good success against Lamar Jackson. I think he's throwing more interceptions than touchdowns. He had more turnovers than touchdowns against the Steelers. But overall, you do those keys right there and you do those well. That's one way to beat them because that's kind of their weakness. And if I'm working for the Steelers and they told me how you gonna beat the Browns, I'll probably run the football. You run the football, of course. You use your running backs. Like we see, Najee Harris always has success against the Browns too. He has some pretty good success against the Browns. I think he has career high rushing is against the Browns as well. You run the football. Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren. You want to get those guys involved. Screen passes, everything. You want to keep everything quick and fast. Myles Garrett and those guys over there as well. You also want to get Kenny Pickett on the move. And you use the run game to set up your play action and get your deep shots down the field. George Pickens, it's going to be very difficult trying to guard him one-on-one, man-to-man. So you want to go out there and you want to kind of go out there and you kind of want to let him attack the mismatches, because you got Darnell Washington who need to get some targets as well. He was out there blocking, which is good too. But he needs some targets as well because he's a guy who's 6'7", 6'8", 270 pounds. That's a big body. That's like Gronkowski out there. And so just throw the ball to him, let him get some targets, and let him make some passes, some catches and stuff. Pat Freiermuth as well. That's kind of how you can beat the Browns a little bit by attacking mismatches. some of their DBs not really the biggest guys out there, so you can attack mismatches in the secondary, and you got to get the ball off fast, and you can run the football too, and don't shy away from the run. You might not get like no crazy amount because the Browns' run defense is not like the 49ers run defense or anything like that. But the Browns got a solid run defense still, though. But I think you can still probably manage running the football on them. And as long as you stay with it and using the short passing game as an extension to run as well and kind of implementing all that together. And that can be your keys to victory and for success. And of course, getting to the quarterback. TJ Watt getting to the quarterback. And for the Browns, vice versa, Myles Garrett getting to the quarterback. One of those guys like harassing the quarterback, that can mess the whole game plan up. But my score prediction for the game, I think Pittsburgh win this one in a nail biter. I think it's 24-18. I think the Steelers be up 24-17, 24-18, and the Steelers don't score. I don't think in the third quarter. In the fourth quarter, I think come down to just like a defensive battle a little bit. The Browns with the ball in the end, and then they drive it down the field. And you know how the Steelers do. They're gonna let them get in the red zone. It'll be a 3rd and 12 or something. And get the first down. You're like, dang, it's the first down. You'll start our heart racing and stuff. Your blood start racing. You start getting angry and stuff. And you're gonna be in the red zone. It'll come down to like a 4th down play, and the Steelers get a pass breakup to end the game and win the game 24-18. That's my prediction. Steelers win the game in a nail biter on Monday Night Football in prime time. That's my prediction for the game. Let me know down below what's your prediction and your score prediction for the game as well. But I'll see you guys next time on the channel. Peace out.